Hey guys, and welcome to the updated introduction to No Hands Proxies video. In this video I'm going to be briefly showing you all the different features and settings that make No Hands Proxies really one of the most unique proxy harvesting softwares available on the market. Okay, I'm going to start by just getting No Hands Proxies up. Now, as you can see, it's got a really clean layout. If all you're wanting to do is just harvest and check proxies, all you need to do is just load it up and then hit the start button here, and it will just go off and find thousands of proxies for you, and it will check them all, and at the end of the period, however long you want to leave it, you could have a few hundred proxies or a couple thousand proxies, but either way it's all done for you. And I'll show you just by hitting that start button. You'll see that it starts running, and straight away it's going to go off and find a load of proxies, and then it's going to download them and start checking them, and automatically just do everything for you. Okay, so I'm going to quickly go through all the different settings for you, just to see how many different ways that it can be used and how you can fine-tune it to get the specific proxies that you want, or to output them into a place that you would like. So here you can limit the amount of proxies that it harvests. So say you only want 100 but you want them to be checked regularly, more regularly, you can set that. Just check the limit harvest proxies and set that to say 100, and then it will only harvest 100 proxies and check them. Okay, you can also do the same but for working proxies. You know, realistically there's not many people that are going to be using those settings, but they're there if you do have a use for them. You can set how often to retest the proxies. Now what most software does is that it will go off and harvest a whole bunch of proxies, and it will then check them, and at the end of the checking process, that may take half an hour or maybe an hour or something like that, then it will start to wait, depending on whatever delay you have it set, before rechecking the proxies. Now the problem with this is a lot of public proxies will only be working for maybe half hour or an hour, so by the time you found the proxy and outputted it to a file and then had your delay on rechecking them, chances are that most of the proxies are going to be dead by that point. So the way No Hands Proxies is different is that it will recheck a proxy depending on the last time it was checked, rather than anything to do with the state of how many proxies are still to be checked or anything like that. So if you have that set to 30 minutes, the oldest proxy in your list will have been checked about 30 minutes ago. If you said it's 5 minutes, then all of the proxies will have been checked within the last sort of 5 minutes. Okay, you can also get it to save proxies whenever No Hands Proxies closes. Now what that'll do is all of the proxies in the working list, see it's already got quite a lot here, all of those will be saved, so that the next time you open up, rather than relying entirely on the list of proxy sources, it will load in all of the proxies that were working from your last session. Okay, now a great feature that No Hands Proxies has that I haven't actually seen in any other software, other than one service that I can think of, which actually charges by the month. You can set a proxy at a random time interval, so you could set it, you could have it pick a random proxy from this list every 60 minutes, or you can actually hold down Control Alt and P and it will automatically take one of the proxies from the list and implement that for the Windows Internet connection settings. Now that proxy is used in Internet Explorer, in Chrome, in pretty much any .NET application, so things like SE Nuke I believe adhere to the Windows Internet connection settings, and all these other programs that rely on those, it will be applied there. So basically, if you're wanting to sign up for many accounts at say Google or Hotmail, or even dating sites like Plenty of Fish, or bookmarking sites, basically any site, so long as you just hold down Control Alt and press P, you'll get a new proxy, so you can set up another account. And as you can see, you've got all the different options of what anonymity proxy you want, whether it should pass the website checks. I'll get to the website checks in a second, and also whether to use the latest checked proxy, just a random one from the list, or the current fastest proxy. You can do all of that simply by holding down Control Alt and P. Okay, very easy. Obviously, if you don't have any use for that, say you're outputting the proxies to a file and then loading it into your tool, then you don't need to worry about that, but it's there if you need it, and I think it's a really great option for people who will be setting up accounts manually and things like that on you know, the really high-end Web 2.0 sites or bookmarking sites like that. Okay, as any good SEO tool should have, now Hands Proxies also has threads control, so you can have either 20 if you're on a basic domestic internet connection, or you can have it set at a couple of hundred if you're on a VPS, but that's all there for you. There's also a test for the max thread setting, so say you're not entirely convinced what your computer and internet connection can handle, all you need to do is click the test for max thread settings, and you'll see within a couple of seconds it'll start testing how many threads it can handle. Okay, dead simple. When that's finished, it will output roughly how many threads you should be using as a maximum, and then you can use that setting in there. Okay, so if you don't know, all you need to do is click the test for max thread settings. Okay, and as you can see, there's the connection timeout. This is how long to allow the proxy to actually connect to a server. So if you have it set at, say, 5 seconds, you'll only be getting quite fast proxies. If you have it set for 30 or 60 seconds, then it might take a bit longer to check for the proxies in general, because you're allowing each proxy longer to respond, but you'll also get a lot more proxies. Okay, and the read-write timeout, obviously that is how long it takes to perform the download of the web page effectively. So you don't need to have the read-write timeout quite as high in general, but it's there if you want to change it. And now you can minimize to system tray, so if you have that checked and save the settings, whenever you minimize it, it will go down into your system tray rather than showing in your toolbar as one of the open software. Clear Windows proxy on exit. If you are setting say a proxy in Windows, then often with other tools and things like that set the Windows proxy, I've seen a lot of people that will forget that proxy has been applied, and then they wonder why they can't use the internet or things like this. So it's a good idea that if you are using those settings, or even if you're not, to leave that setting checked, just because then whenever no Hands Proxies is closed, it will remove the Windows proxy and you'll be able to use the internet without having that proxy enabled. Obviously, if you want to have that proxy still applied, then you'll want to uncheck that. Now, output options, you have all the options here to output either on a timer, so it's currently set at 15 minutes, or to output every time a change is made to the working proxy list. Okay, self-explanatory really. Here you can use this controls to output to a local file, or here you can use it to output to an email, or output to an FTP server. So basically you upload a file to a server which is either accessible by yourself privately or can be made public, but that's entirely up to you. You can tell it where to put it, what the file name is, and things like that. Now the output to email, you can actually separate multiple different email addresses by comma. So say you wanted to email to yourself and your mate Bob down the street, you can put his email address in after yours and just separate it by a comma, and then it will actually send the email of proxies to yourself and to your friend Bob. Now, proxy testing settings. Here we have a set of websites which can be checked automatically. So say you want to use the proxies for searching Google, all you need to do is check Google search, save the settings, and then you'll see as the proxies are checked, whether they're working or not, they'll also be checked against Google. Now what that means is all of the output proxies will be usable for that purpose. So for example, if you wanted to use the proxies for signing up at Facebook, you check Facebook, save the settings, and then all the proxies that were checked will be checked to ensure that they could actually be used for signing up for accounts at Facebook. And the same goes for Outlook.com, Google accounts, WordPress, and so on and so on. Now you can set the minimum anonymity for your proxies. If you are doing something that absolutely requires your anonymity be upheld, then you can use anonymous or elite proxies, but obviously you're going to get far less proxies if you limit yourself to anonymous or elite proxies. So for most people that will be using it for searching, you wouldn't want to set a minimum anonymity. You just want to rely on the checks of those specific websites, because ultimately if they can be used, it doesn't matter if you're using transparent proxies or elite proxies. If they can be used for searching, they can be used for searching, so there's no point in setting a minimum anonymity. Okay, and if you want to check against a specific website, so as in my earlier example, you maybe want to sign up at I don't know, say a Web 2.0 site, you could put in just a name of the website in there, the address, and what to check for. So you might want to put in the address of the register page or the sign up page, and then in the success string make sure that some part of the registration form is shown, or some part of the text that's on the web page is displayed, and then you click add website, and then you'll be able to just simply check that option, and all the proxies will be tested against them. It's great if you are, as I say, manually signing up for a specific website over and over. You can enter in the website's details, check the option, and then just Control Alt and P, and it will pick one of those proxies at random, set it in Windows, and then you can sign up for an account. Okay, now as you'd expect, there's region filtering. You can either filter with the whitelist, so say you only wanted proxies from Afghanistan or Andorra, you'd simply just check the filter options applicable and allow from Andorra. Or for example, if you wanted to disallow by Asia or the Pacific region or Anguilla, then you just simply check that, and then all of your proxies will be checked against those regions, and any website from, in this instance, Armenia, they would be disallowed, so they'd be completely ignored. Okay, whereas with the whitelist it will only get proxies from that region. Okay, and the same goes for port filtering. You can either allow only by proxies on a specific port, as long as you have those two checked, and say you wanted only proxies on the 3336 port for whatever reason, you could just put that in, and then only proxies on that port would be allowed. And the same goes for the blacklist. You can ignore proxies or any proxies on those ports. Now these are easily changeable. You can delete them if you wanted, and make sure that you don't have proxies on port 64, or you could leave it as is. Again, it's not something that all people will need, but it's something that specific software might use a specific port, so you may want to be checking for those ports if that's the case. Now also you can set the initial proxy sources. So No Hands Proxies does have a built-in list of proxy sources, and it is updated roughly every week or two to make sure that all the sources are working and they're giving usable proxies. I mean, you can see in the time that I've been doing this video, down here in the working proxies status label, we actually have 1650 or 1654 working proxies currently, and there's still 5400 proxies to be checked. So it's going to continue on finding these proxies for you, even when the awaiting proxies list has been depleted. All the proxies have been checked. It will then continue to search based on the working proxies. It will try and find more proxies. So it doesn't entirely rely on the internal proxy list, but it will just use those for the initial search. but you can change the proxy list if you like. If you have a list that you know is particularly good, say it gets you a lot of Google Pass proxies, or say you're wanting to search Bing and you know that a certain website has Bing tested proxies or something like that, then you can use them. You can either replace the initial proxy source list entirely, or you can add some sources to the list. So if you add sources to the list, it will still search the internal proxy sources list, but it will also search the sources that you enter in here. Okay, but as I say, the internal list is updated very regularly, far more regularly than any other software. So really there isn't much need, because there are a lot of really bad proxy source lists out there. So you may want to have a play around with those if you know that your list is good. If not, just leave it alone, and as you can see, No Hands Proxies is more than capable of finding lots and lots of different types of proxies for you. Okay, as you can see, these are the more recent proxies. It's currently 4 minutes past 1. So yep, as you can see, it's going through the list, it's checking them. It's going quite steadily because, as you saw earlier, it's only running on 25 threads at the minute, but it's still found 1700 proxies in its well, not even 20 minutes yet. It's about 16 minutes or so, and it's found 1700 working proxies. So there you go. That's most of the settings. You can add your own proxy lists either by typing them in and clicking add, or you can enter a list by file or via the clipboard, and then they will be added to the list of proxies that are awaiting check-in. You can also output the proxies manually. If you didn't want to set up the automatic settings, you can output either all of them, or the proxies that have passed the website checks, or any proxies that you've selected. But you also have the list of output options of file, or whether to use the saved output option. So say you have output to email and local file enabled, rather than having to output the selected proxies to each one individually, you can just hit the saved output options and it will output all of your, in this case, selected proxies from the list. It'll output them to your file and to your email list straight away. And also for ease, you can select proxies. Either you can select all of them, or you can select based on their anonymity or whether they've passed the website check. So here, for instance, you can select all the transparent proxies and then output those if you wanted, or you can recheck them to make sure that they're working, or you can also set the Windows proxy. And then you see it says down here that the Windows proxy is set to that, and then obviously you can remove the Windows proxy, and there you can see this updates every I think it's 3 seconds. So if there's a slight delay, it doesn't mean that it's the delay in having the proxy being set, it's just the delay in the label being updated. So yeah, I think that's mainly it. Oh, in the there's also the help menu. If you're unsure of how to do anything, you can click on any of these options and it will bring up the user manual for that specific area. There's the support forum. I will also be putting in a link to the videos page, so obviously if anybody's unsure about how to do anything in particular, you can click on that and see the support video on how to do that yourself. And also you can detach the license from the machine. So say you want to move your license to a different machine, you can click that, it will close down No Hands Proxies, and then when you load up on your next machine you won't have any issues with the license whatsoever. So I hope that's not baffled you too much. I hope it's been slightly enlightening on how to use No Hands Proxies briefly. Obviously I'll be doing more specific videos on the different features, namely the use of hotkeys and switching proxies, things like that, how to use the website, lists a lot more. There's actually quite a few videos already on the video page. If you go to the nohandsproxies.com website, there's a link nearest the top there which will take you to the video guides where you can see all these different things being done. But that's all of the settings and features in a nutshell. Nothing too specific, but they're all there. Yeah, if you have any feature suggestions, by all means get on email at support@nohandsproxies.com or get on the support forum at nohandsseo.com/forum and post there your feature suggestions, or if you have any questions you can do that. Yeah, there's a free trial if you want. There's a 7-day free trial, and yeah, so if you have any questions you can post them in the comments as well, but I hope that's been useful for you. Okay, and thanks for watching, and I hope to hear from you soon. Okay, cheers, bye.